I don't feel alright. I lose my life. Maybe right now.
All right, we're live.
Yes.
Justin, welcome to our podcast, man. Really
Yeah, thanks for having me.
appreciate you making the time for us. Just to start off, yeah, like I said, I really appreciate it. Always been a inspiration for me because actually, when I started training, you just got your pro card. So that was like I think
2012.
2012. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, um, I obviously know you. Sama obviously knows you, and I think a lot of people from my generation uh, very well know who you are as well. But I think we also have a lot of young guys watching who might not know you that well. So, if you could just introduce yourself a little bit. Who are you? What have you accomplished? And yeah, just go ahead.
All right. So, just like a brief bio, I think I am, since we're in 2026 now, that's going to put me at 24 years actively in the bodybuilding industry.
Yeah.
And that includes my teenage years as well. And I like to consider those because I feel like that was my greatest learning curve was like, rather than a kid who went home and studied math, science, or English, I was someone who could float by in school with like between an A to a B without studying. I didn't need to. I'm not bragging about that. Some people are just different. I did flunk a few classes in college, so there's that. But like in high school, I didn't need to study. I was able to just breeze through it.
At
So when
least
I
you
got
went to
home,
college, man.
yeah, I graduated college too. I have an
Okay.
engineering degree. Yes, I did graduate college as well. Actually, the
Engineering,
only
right?
class yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only class I failed was physics. And the irony of me failing physics is so strange because I'm really good at math. But the thing with physics is it's not a mathematical formula. Physics is applied math. Like, you write all this shit on a chalkboard. That doesn't, how's that going to help us, right? It doesn't mean anything in the real world.
No.
Physics takes that chalkboard and applies it to how to make something, build something, how to improve something. And it takes math and it puts it into real life application. And I had never done anything like that. And I thought I would just walk in and just pass the class. Oh, no,
That's
no.
crazy, man.
I was different. I had to retake it. And I had to retake it with the same professor. And I got a 90, like a 94 the second time. So, like, I went from a F to an A because I actually listened. I actually
Yeah.
paid attention. But, back to my teenage years, like when I would get out of school, this was a lot of people here will not be able to relate to this type of technology because here we are on a podcast with our cell phones and stuff like that. We didn't have that back then. We had a 56K dial-up internet. Do you guys remember that? Sam, I
I
know you don't.
I kind of do. I'm from 95. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
I'm
so
from
yeah, you
'02,
were
so for me, it's I was not even born, I think.
so yeah, you had your landline that like if someone tried to call you on your landline, you're on the internet, they couldn't call you. They got a busy signal.
Yeah, I remember.
So and
Who's
it
using the
was so
Wi-Fi, boys?
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So everything was all like super slow. So I just sat there and I read articles. Like I couldn't really watch videos, but YouTube wasn't a thing either. I mean, it was, but it was like nobody really watched YouTube at that time. Like 2001, 2002, 2003, nobody watched YouTube. That didn't really start coming around probably till like 2009 or 10, where you had like the OGs like Callum Von Moger, Joey Swole, people like that. They were like the original like social media influencers.
Rich Piana.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
Rich was actually a little bit later to the game than that. I think Callum was like one of the first online personas that I remember.
Yeah.
But and then you had the guys on the forum boards. That's back when I was learning. And to be fair about it, those guys actually taught me probably 50% of the education that I know now because it was all straight up, no bullshit. Um, there was no one trying to sell you a gimmick training program. There was no one selling you a gimmick supplement program. Like these guys was just like, this is what works and this is bullshit. Like it was clear cut.
Mm.
Now you have guys where where everyone wants to get involved now. Everyone tries to find like a unique niche, like in order to make money. And sometimes the wheel does not need to be reinvented. Bodybuilding has been, for me, I'm going to say it's been an easy journey because it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. And that's where a lot of the newer generation is coming in, and they're overcomplicating things. And I don't know if they're doing it because they feel it's better, or if they know that it makes money because it's catchy. It's very it gets people's attention.
I think it's a
And some of
combination of both.
and some of the stuff works. I'm not gonna lie. Like some of the stuff I've seen online, I'm like, I'm gonna try that in the gym. And I'm like, shit, it actually feels good. I like that. So, I'm not one of those people that's stuck and stubborn in my ways by any means. I mean, I will call out bullshit when I see it, but like if something works, it works, right? And if I've tried it and if I implement it myself and it works, then I'll implement it on my clients. I don't like to guinea pig people. So for me, I got started, teenage years. I was just like, instead of studying math or any other thing that I should have been studying, I was coming home. I was reading about bodybuilding, learning about bodybuilding, just because I never really thought I would make it to where I made it at. Just to be honest, I thought I would just be the big kid in high school. Like that's as far as I thought I would be. And I was the biggest kid in high school. As a matter of fact, like I didn't understand genetics at the time. Like I knew what genetics was, your DNA, but like I didn't understand how it applied to bodybuilding. And most people, when they think genetics, they think about your shape, right? They don't think about all the other things that goes into genetic components with bodybuilders. And apparently, I'm going to go on a limb and assume that I have a low myostatin because my first year of lifting weights, I lifted like most rookies. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't watch the YouTube videos of the pros how they were training, and I was a teenager, so I couldn't go watch. And I did watch these later on. The Ronnie Coleman DVDs, the Jay Cutler, the J to Z. I did watch those later on once I got the money to be able to afford it. But it's weird for like a 14-year-old to ask your parents, like, "Hey, can I go watch this big guy in a thong? Go work out." It's kind of odd, right?
Get smacked around right there.
Yeah, it looks a little weird. So like
A
I'm sitting
little
here
bit,
kind
a
of
little
like
bit.
I'm like kind of secretly trying to learn this stuff and learn how to train. And when I actually went to a public gym, that's when things actually changed for me a little bit. One of my friends, and me and him, we talk almost every day still. Like he messaged me this morning. Well, he messaged me last night and I saw it this morning. But when I walked into a public gym, this guy I don't think he was the reigning Mr. Kentucky. That's the state that I'm from, but he had won it before. And he was, at that time, that was the biggest human I'd ever came across. And I was very introverted. Like I couldn't talk to people. Like I didn't know how to introduce myself and be friendly because I was very quiet. Bodybuilding changed my personality for the better when it comes to that, which that's down the road. But like I just saw him in the corner and I just watched and I observed every exercise that he did. That was my YouTube, essentially, because he knew how to control the weights. He knew immaculate form. He knew when to push it, when not to push it. This guy was a legitimate bodybuilder. Like I think his biggest issue is he struggled with the lack of confidence to be able to go pro. He always thought that he wasn't good enough. And I can tell, like me at 38 now, I haven't forgotten the first day that I saw him, and I haven't forgotten him at his peak either. He would have probably turned pro in the 2005 to 2010 range when it was still very, very difficult, and he would have kicked ass. But he never actually did a national show. So it tells you he knew what he was doing. So I was a kid and I just watched from a distance. And I'm like, okay, he's doing it like this and I'm doing it like this. But he looks like that and I don't. So there's something he's doing right. And I didn't go up and bother this guy. I didn't go up and take pictures with him. I didn't even say a word to him. I just was like literally with my notebook in the gym, like, okay, you need to do this. I'm like learning from the best in the area, essentially. And then obviously I'm still furthering my education online. After, high school, me and him actually became friends while I was still in high school because he told me this is kind of what made us become friends. He told me that, he had seen teenagers leave the gym, like come and go his whole life. And he goes, "You're the only one that's came to the gym and trained with intent, with purpose." He's like, most people come in, they'll do curls and bench press, right? And that's it. And he goes, "You come in and you train like a bodybuilder." So he kind of like took me under his wing a little bit. He took me to my first bodybuilding show. We watched it. Of course, I got to saw freaks there and stuff, and that was really fun for me to see. And this is back when bodybuilding, I don't know how it is in your all's country, but like bodybuilding in the United States, the culture has shifted. The people hasn't shifted, but the competition has. And what I mean by that is like people say bodybuilding's dying. It's really not dying, but we have a lot more shows now. We still have the same number of people. There's just less people in each show because instead of having 1,000 people in two shows, which would be 500 per show, you now have 10 shows where you have 100 people in each one of them.
Yeah.
So it kind of waters it down. But back then, if finals started at 6 p.m. and you showed up at 5:45, you're not getting a seat. You're standing in the audience. Like, and that to me, that was like to walk into a full, like, I've been to shows where the fire marshal came in and said, "If you let anyone else in this building, we're going to shut you down because there's too many people here." Like it was literally a legal thing. Like they sold too many tickets. So bodybuilding was like, it wasn't more alive back then, but it was funner to watch because you saw 500 to 1,000 different people in one single show. We don't see that too often nowadays, but that's just because we have so many different shows. And that's not to say that bodybuilding's dying. It's just went a slightly different direction. The competitors, people say, "Oh, there's not any good competitors." That's bullshit. We still have great quality competitors. You just don't see 20 good guys in one class. Instead, you see 3 to 5. And again, it's because it's dispersed. And you also have classic. You got men's physique. Who knows what else is going to come out in the future? But like,
Men's
you know, like,
bikini.
yeah, give it a little bit of time.
Men's wellness.
Yeah.
Give it time, and it'll probably happen. Or they'll have like a fit model version of like the men. Because what they'll do, if you think about this, like men's physique was originally supposed to be like beach body.
Yeah.
And some of those men's physique guys on the Olympia stage, they won't do classic, even though they look classic. They can't do it because they can't make the weight, which means they're too big. That's not what that division was intended to be for. So it really wouldn't be surprising to me. It would be appealing and it would be marketing and money making. I don't agree with it, but it would make money if they said, "Hey, we want the guys who have like 8 to 10% body fat on stage." Like, because that's kind of what the original men's physique was. Like, if you had like an outline of your abs, you're winning shows. Like, and there's a lot of guys who walks around like that, on a daily basis, and they don't have to try. But that would be like I think it's the WNBF, not WNBF, the WB. It's the one in Canada, Paul Dillette,
Yeah.
that he found.
Is it the Weber?
No, not NABA. It's like WBBF.
Yeah. But I know which one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like where they have like a muscle model organization.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, it would open up opportunities for different people. Like, there's probably like good-looking people out there that have great bodies that like they're not really bodybuilders, but it would open up opportunities for modeling and like clothing contracts.
The
Nike,
same what they
stuff like
did
that.
actually with Fit Model right now. I mean,
Yeah,
back when what's her name? Ashley Caldwasser.
yeah,
That was basically Fit Model back then.
mhm,
And it just evolved to way harder, leaner women
yeah,
actually, and the gap for competing in that division was getting too big for like other
yeah,
normal looking women, so they created Fit Model, of course.
But
yeah.
in my opinion, also to give you a quick insight in the Netherlands, Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have around 5 regional shows each year.
Well, I'm not sure because since this year actually there's a few couple extra shows. So we also got one or two extra pro shows right now, and I think we've got an extra natural pro show, which is women only, if I'm right. Our regional Benelux show It's also not only a regional show, but also a pro show right now, but only for classic physique. So I think we have like 2 to 3 extra shows this year compared to the last couple of years. So I'm not really sure at the
So
moment.
that means 6. But I know the USA is much bigger, and bodybuilding is also bigger because our last guest Dan, I don't know if you know he's also an IBB pro. He was sitting 2 rows behind you when Joe Palacios was on the stage. I think I told you from WhatsApp, Justin. But
Okay.
he was also saying in the Netherlands we have only one pro qualifier at the end of the
Yeah.
year. That was the one I did. So
Actually, I have two, but the other one is Euro Muscle Show, which got canceled because there weren't enough athletes
yeah,
to join the
that
pro.
was like 4 weeks out or something. 4 weeks out, the promoter said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have enough because there are I don't know the rules of the IVB, the NPC, but you have to be there have to be a certain contenders like a top 5, and if there's below top 5, there's not. If you win, you don't get a card, or there's not enough contenders or something like that. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
in Dan. What I was saying about Dan. Dan was in the USA last year, and he said he grew the most when he was in America, just strictly because the gyms, the food. He ate a lot of good food because you can have food around the corner, like also bad food, also good food. But this bodybuilding is so much bigger in the USA. Listen, if Robin and I, we have a really good gym around the corner, Credo Gym, and if we walk out of the gym in a tank top and we go into the city, they're gonna look at us like we're fucking drug addicts. That's crazy. Dan said when you walk there, everybody's God, you're super good, and everybody is motivating, and even women want to go in a picture with you. And here is like, disgusting. So it's a really big difference. But
Well,
also,
it can be that way in certain areas here in the U.S. as well. Like if you're in like bigger cities, like when you said, I think it was Texas is where you get, it was either Texas or Tampa, right? Where I saw where your friend was at.
yeah, one of
Yeah,
them.
I think it was Tampa because another friend of ours was doing, I think, the Tampa show,
Yeah.
and Dan attended it just in the audience. So I think it was
If
Oh
you
yeah.
Tampa.
were, if you go to cities like that, like it's that those are like, there's a lot of bodybuilders like in places like that. But if you were to go to like a small town in like Indiana or like Michigan, like if you go to a place that's not very well known and you're like a freak and you walk out in public in a tank top, people will want to take pictures with you, but it's not for the right reasons. Like they're looking at you
Okay.
like a freak show. So like it does happen here too. Like just
Yeah,
because they don't see that very often. Like if you're in Miami, it's nothing abnormal to see a bodybuilder. Like if you went to Walmart, I would be willing to bet you'll see at least you may not see a pro bodybuilder, but you're gonna see a guy who trains hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
But I think
That's
overall the mentality of the Netherlands, or maybe even Europe, but the Netherlands especially, is way different than the USA mentality because and it's actually quite painful. But the most known Dutch slogan is behave normal because then you're crazy enough already. Like it's just such a it's people just want to be kind of want to be small or something like that, and not even like in their physique wise, but also mentally, and just chill down. We don't need much more than we already have to come around, and that's always the mentality of a lot of Dutch people.
I
And
feel like Americans are definitely the opposite of that because
yeah,
they're
exactly.
always trying to go for more,
Yeah,
more,
but the bigger the
more.
better.
bigger
Yeah,
the
Whether
better. Yeah.
whether it's higher education, higher profits like money, business, bigger houses, bigger bodies, bigger physiques,
yeah,
faster cars, like we are always about more on everything.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's the big difference with, especially in the Netherlands. You see that when in the Benelux region, you see that mentality come back in bodybuilding as well. And when you get outside of the Benelux, it's getting bigger already because if you go to Germany, the bodybuilding community is already a lot bigger. You've got bigger and better gyms, more supporting community over there. Of which you have in the Netherlands, it's like, with why would you do that? Just get a job, and
Mm.
don't you have something better
Yeah.
to do than train all day? And aren't you getting sick and tired of eating the same food all day? Like no, Karen. I mean, you eating that you're eating like a peanut butter sandwich every day as well. So I'm not getting tired of that.
But I
So
think
that's
that's a nice pitch. But we talked about this. You turned yourself pro, right? At
No,
oh no?
no. I actually earned my pro card with Factory.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just thinking about. I think we have a lot of we're an upcoming podcast, and for our ideas to really show the journey of pro bodybuilders at upcoming first show, or even just to give a quick inside look what most podcasts don't do, like the man behind, so behind the pump, so the man behind the pump. I'm really interested. I know your story a little bit, but can you take us through like the younger years? I know I told you my story about a good friend of mine that after all didn't want to be my or didn't want to be a friend because everything. But I was really curious, what was your younger years like from you started at 14 and then turned pro like 10 years later, right?
Yeah, like 9 years later. I think I was 23, 23 or 24. I actually don't remember now. This is me getting old. But it's 2012. I know it was 2012.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I actually had my older friend that I was just telling you guys about that I watched. But there was another guy, and I have to give him a lot of credit. And unfortunately, me and him don't speak anymore, and it kind of saddens me a little bit because that's a whole different story. Like that's a different story. But like
Yeah.
I wish me and him were still friends, but we're not, I guess. So in high school, he was the other guy who wanted to be a bodybuilder. And it was just me and him. And I had the genetics and I had the work ethic. He just had the work ethic. He didn't quite have the genetics.
Just
But
like me
we
and Robin, I'm the talented and he's just working hard.
thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Jokes aside.
No,
you
I'm
know, me
absolutely not
and
as genetically gifted as Samo. Absolutely not. No.
but no, me and Brian used to train together. We actually became friends like outside the gym. Like, back when Halo, like the video game on Xbox,
Oh, I was
like
hello.
Of course
yeah,
you
yeah.
I know,
were.
yeah.
Of course you were.
Yeah, I would go over to his house, we play video game stuff, and like I was 2 years older than him. So like I would drive him to the gym, from time to time. We would go work out. And then I remember I was 17 or 18. I was 18 at the time. And he decided that I never thought I was good enough to compete. I never once looked in the mirror and said, holy shit, like you could win shows. Never. I remember I won this thing after like a year of weightlifting where you submit your pictures online to bodybuilding.com. And they used to have this thing, it's called like the bodybuilder of the week, the teen bodybuilder of the week, female bodybuilder of the week. And I was like, and you get $50 worth of supplements and then they highlight you on the website. Well, I sent my pictures in and I got an email back the next day and they confirmed like, hey, you're the guy. I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. And like at the time, that was my highest level of accomplishment. Like, because I never played sports. Like that was the first thing that I ever won in my life. But I was like, oh, that's just online pictures. That doesn't mean shit.
No.
So my buddy Brian decided he was going to enter the Northerns, and the Northern it's called the Northern Kentucky. And at the time, there was only bodybuilding, figure, and female bodybuilding. That was the only three categories that you could choose from. And they did not allow crossovers at that show because it was so big. So like if you do novice, you're not allowed to do open. If you do masters, you're not allowed to do open. You get one class, one chance on stage, and that's it. And the reason they did that though, like if you're a teen, you couldn't do novice, you stuck with the teen division. So the reason I did that though is because we had roughly around 600 people with just those three categories, like head count.
That's
So we
big.
had very very big shows. Like it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes before the overall winners would get announced.
It's crazy.
So Brian decided he wanted to do that show, and I remember thinking, and I was a little bit of an asshole to him. Like when he approached me with the idea, I was like, dude, I was like, that's the biggest show like in the region. I was like, you realize you're probably going to get your ass handed to you, right?
Mm.
Like this is not the show for a rookie because we had another show that was a little bit smaller. I was like, you should do that one, not the big one. But he wanted to go against like good competitors, which can't knock him for that, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to win a show with shitty quality competitors?
Exactly.
So I just kind of told him, I was like, you know what, man, fuck it. You have the balls to do it. I'll do it too. So we both prepped for it. And this is whenever like online coaching was not a thing. And you had to read and learn and absorb as much as you possibly could at that time in order to be able to put a good package on stage. Online coaching was just starting to become a thing. Like there was guys like Alex Azarian, he's no longer with us. He's passed away. I don't know why. I think John Meadows was finally starting to just make an online presence. You had Dante Trudell with True Nutrition, and then you had Justin Harris, I think and Lane Norton.
Oh,
Outside
those
of
kind
those
guys.
names, like there was no other online coaches that I was aware of.
Oh.
Those were the people. And as a teenager, I didn't have the money to pay a coach. Like I was trying to get through college. I just wanted to have fun. I was spending my money on other things. So I just took the knowledge I had and I listened to my body and I looked in the mirror every day and I posed and I practiced and I ended up, I thought I was ready and I was ready enough for that show, but I wasn't like super, super peeled. You know how a lot of like rookie competitors, they think they're ready and they're really not. I was
Or
one of those. But
yeah,
we had 15 people in the team division. Like I never see that anymore at a local competition. You know,
mostly
uh,
2 or 3. It's crazy.
yeah, we don't even have. I don't. Most of the shows now, we don't even have team divisions.
No.
Like we really don't because there's just nobody that enters them.
No, you would think
So
also with the social media, everybody, and that's a
yeah,
very cool that you say that because when you were younger, you were not thinking, oh, I'm good enough. I need more mass. And nowadays, people 16, 17, 18, road to pro. And I'm like,
yeah.
no, go enjoy it. Go love bodybuilding.
Or
Go give.
or they'll go with men's physique or classic physique because they see it as like an easier route.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't we didn't have an easier route. Like you had bodybuilding and that was it. So you had to jump up there with the big boys or you could sit in the audience, one or the other. So, me and Brian, like I kind of did it for fun at first. Like I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. I had no expectations. But to be fair, I just wanted to have fun with my friend. And then he kind of got a little bit competitive with me. Like, the way we would talk, like the attitude changed, the atmosphere changed when we both started dieting. And I hate to say this, but I knew I was better than he was. And that's not a dig at him, but I knew I was a little bit more genetically talented. So he started being a little bit arrogant, to say that nicely. And I was like, okay, you want to get competitive with me? We'll be competitive together. So
Bring it
I made it
on.
a goal. I was like, if I don't beat anybody in that show, I want to beat him. Like that's it. I want to place higher than you. That was my objective. And turns out I have to thank him for that. I mean, we remained friends for years after that. He ended up placing last, and I felt because I thought, I figured, okay, 15 guys, I'm going to get like seventh, and he's going to get like ninth. Who cares, right? Well, they didn't do call outs. They just arranged 15 people and they moved us around on the stage. So we had no idea or who was placing where. And there was one kid backstage that looked really good. And I got a chance to stand beside of him. And I'm like, okay, I'm in the mix. Like, I'm actually going to get a trophy here. Like, I'm going to walk away with something. And ironically, his name was Justin as well. So when it got down, like when they bring the top 5 out, I'm like, okay, I'm in the top 5. This is cool. So I do my posing routine. And then they bring out, 5th place, 4th place. And I'm like, damn, I'm in the top 3. 3rd place. I'm like, I'm not 3rd. I'm like, and I'm looking around like Justin he was a better bodybuilder than me that day. And I've told him this as well, like, because we didn't connect on social media for like years later. He was better than me that day from a physique standpoint, and I don't want to pick on him for this, but like, because bodybuilding wasn't his thing. He was just that damn good, talented. He looked fucking good and he didn't have to try. Like, I thought the guy was probably, at that time, because he was better than me. Of course, he had to be on gear if he was better than me, right? No, he was just genetically, naturally better than me. But his posing was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And I genuinely think that's the only reason that they gave me the win. So when they said take second place to Justin, and then before the last name came out, I started walking. I was like going to walk up there and take my place because I didn't know his name at the time.
Wrong Justin.
Yeah, and they said like Justin Weddle. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the last man standing. Holy shit, I just won this. Like, I won my first show, and that's kind of what got me going. I was like, man, I just won the biggest show like in the area in my class. It was like, does this mean like you have potential? Like, what does this? Like, what did you just do? Like, it didn't quite sink in on me. And to be fair, I kind of wanted to be a dickhead to my friend, but like when I saw I won, and I saw like he was like kind of embarrassed, I couldn't do it. I just, shook his hand, I didn't say a word. I was like, I don't want to hurt this guy's feelings. Like, because at first I kind of did, because he was a little bit kind of passive aggressive to me in prep, and he kind of became a little bit of a dickhead. So I didn't say anything to him because I realized his pride, his ego, his emotions, everything was all over. I was just like, good job, man. Like we got this. Like, we did it. And that was that. And I went on, I won like 4 more team competitions, 4 or 5. 2 years later, he actually went to team nationals and got 3rd out of a very competitive class. He ended up looking great. He got a lot better. But at that point, I was in college and I wanted to get a college education because I never was one of those guys who thought bodybuilding was going to pay the bills for me. Like, I didn't even know that there was money involved in bodybuilding at that point. I thought the only money involved was probably the guys who sell steroids, right? Like, literally. Like, I didn't know that, like, when I saw pictures, like at this time it was like Dexter, Jay, Phil was on the rise. Those guys, of course, Ronnie Coleman was there too. When I saw pictures of them in the magazines, I didn't realize they were getting paid big money for this. I had no clue. So, like, I didn't think that was ever a possibility for me. So, and the thing is with most people, no matter how talented you are, you should always be thinking about how you're going to make a living and not making a living through bodybuilding, because for most people, it just doesn't happen. Like, I feel very thankful, very blessed that I was able to achieve what I did out of bodybuilding and make the money I did and still continue to make money through the sport. Like, and again, it's a blessed situation, but that's not going to be the case for everyone. So like when I do talk to younger people, I tell them like, maybe go to college, maybe don't go to college, but find a trade, something you can do to produce money for you, yourself, your family, your future, your retirement, because chances are bodybuilding is not going to do it. Like, because times have changed, like I feel like back in the mid 2000s, if you had an IFBB pro card, you're making 6 figures just by having a pro card and being, you could be like last place and you're still making good money through sponsorships and endorsements. But in today's time, you can go win the Mr. USA, you could win nationals, you can win North Americans, you can win the amateur Mr. Olympia, and nobody cares. Like, and I don't mean that like it's not an accomplishment, but nobody's going to sit here and start writing you checks and giving you money. Like, that's not how it works anymore. So I didn't ever see that. And I thought to myself, like, I'm from Kentucky, like what kind of jobs are available? And engineering was probably going to be my highest paid salary.
Yeah.
I also underestimated myself with education level too. Like, obviously there's lawyers like and stuff like that and doctors, which I have no desire to go into either one of those fields. But like there is better money out there. But I figured I'm really good at math. Let's take what I'm good at and utilize that. So yeah, I took my strengths and I utilized that. I don't know anything about biology. I mean, other than bodybuilding biology.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to cure cancer or how to do heart surgery.
Yeah.
And I had no desire for that. So like, I'm not going to go into the medical field. I'm not going to be a nurse. I don't want to do those things. So I became an engineer. And I kind of had to put bodybuilding on hold for two reasons. One, there's the college side of it, but also you guys wouldn't be able to see it on camera, but there is a condition called Osgood slaughter. Have you guys ever heard of that? It's
No.
probably pronounced something different in your language.
Yeah.
Like
Probably.
I'm gonna see if I can scoop that. If you can see my knee, if you guys can see that little knot,
Yeah.
it's right there.
A little bit,
Okay,
yeah.
so when I was a teenager, that knot just popped up. It was very sensitive. Like just to tap it, oh, I wanted to punch you. It hurt really bad. And my parents took me to the doctor, and basically it's called growing pains. Like when your growth plates are opening and you're getting taller.
Yeah.
And and the doctor told me, a few weeks it'll go away. And he was right. It went away. The problem was it came back when I was 20. I don't know why. That was very abnormal to have that at like 12 or 13 years old, and then to have it again at 20 is not normal. So in a way, I'm going to say something that may be a little bit controversial to a lot of people. I started taking gear at 20 years old. I was a week. Technically, I was 19. I was a week from my 20th birthday. So whenever I did this, and that started acting up like 6 months later, I can't help but think maybe I was supposed to be taller. Maybe steroids actually stunted my growth. Like did steroids have something to do with this? Like my growth plates shifting? Because I've been told, again, we don't really have clinical research on this. I don't think we do anyways. Like if say like a 13-year-old were to start taking steroids, is that going to stop his growth? We don't, I mean, I'm not condoning any 13-year-old to ever take drugs of any sort. Nothing. But like, if he did, would it stop his growth?
Yeah.
And there's always been a conversation about that. And then I was just thinking, okay, that's growth plates. And I'm now taking testosterone and D-ball. And at the time, I was on my second cycle, which wasn't test and D-ball. I was like, okay, you're taking steroids. Like, is this what's causing this? And it was to the point where, like, say if I'm training legs, my left leg would get a pump, my right leg wouldn't. And it was because of the pain that I was dealing with in my knee that I couldn't engage that muscle. So finally, I went home and I took some photos, and I'm like, I can see a difference. One quad's bigger than the other quad. I said, I'm done. I quit. Like, I'm not gonna, like, this would have been 2009 or 2009, 2010. Men's physique was just getting introduced. And
Don't tell me you did.
Might as well give it a shot, huh?
No. I felt the opposite. I felt the opposite of that. I was like, fuck it, man. It's like, if I can't train legs, I'll just walk around with a big upper body and I'm going to be the big guy in college. I was like, that's it. Like, I'm not getting on stage and hiding my legs. Like, because when that division came out, I hated it. I literally hated it because I walked around my normal level of body fat was lower than what these guys were on stage. Like, I was like, this is not even a challenge to me. I'm already too big. Like, I'd have to literally just use clenbuterol and just lose muscle in order to actually, like, no gear, and I'm going to beat all these guys. Like, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I waited. I saw orthopedic surgeons. A guy told me, said, we can go in and shave part of your knee out. He goes, it may work. He said it was a 50% chance. And I'm like, 50%? Like, I'm not going to let you do surgery for 50%. Like, I want a 100% chance that you fix it. So he said, most likely it'll go away in a few weeks. And I said, well, it did when I was younger. Let's give it a shot. Took a year and a half. And the pain finally went away after a year and a half. So I remember I went to the gym one day and I said, I haven't trained legs in a year and a half. I was like, I'm going to try legs. And I trained legs with no pain. I was like, this is cool. Like, I got a good leg pump. Like, this is awesome. Of course, the next day I could barely walk, but that's what I wanted. I love that feeling, right? So I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And I was at my senior year of college at this point. And I was like, when you graduate, you're going to be an engineer. And if you're an engineer, like with the type of jobs that I was looking at, it would be very difficult to be a bodybuilder because it's one of those things where like I basically had a guaranteed job, and it was going to start me off at a pretty good salary. It was where my dad works at. He was going to pretty much pull me in. It's like I knew the right people. So
yeah.
But it was one of those things where you're supposed to get off work at 3 o'clock, but if a part breaks at like 2:30, you might not leave until 9 or 10 o'clock that night. And I
We,
was
we
like,
fix.
that's going to really throw a monkey wrench into my lifestyle. Like, I'm supposed to be training at 5 o'clock. Like, I can't, these are the thoughts that's going through my head. Like, how is this possible? Like, and I was like, okay, you're not a pro bodybuilder. You're going to have to work around this. You're not making money through this. I was like, so what we're going to do is we're going to do one last show before we graduate college. One show.
Just one
So
show, one show only.
yeah, that's all. Yeah, it was supposed to be one show and done. And that was 2010. And they changed it that year. The show that I did, it used to be called the Mr. Kentucky. So I still actually say that sometimes by accident and sometimes on purpose because I wanted that title, but they changed it that year. So the Mr. Kentucky was moved to August and the Kentucky Muscle got moved to November. And I was supposed to graduate college that semester. And I decided that I was going to finish college and I was going to do that show. My objective was to make top 3 in the open because that qualified me for nationals. I wanted to say I was a nationally qualified bodybuilder. You know, it was kind of like the guys today when you see that on their Instagram and stuff. I wanted to be able to say that. Well, it turns out I worked with Shelby Starn for that show, and he pushed me to a limit of like I didn't know I was capable of. He pushed me hard, and I got in shape. It was the first time I'd ever had striding glutes, and I was dead on point. I was flat. I was so flat. It was ridiculous, but I was shredded, and that's what mattered. And I won the novice division, and I won the open division. And to be fair about this, I mean, I'm not one that like, I know there's been a lot of talk here lately about politics and stuff, like at least on the US bodybuilding podcast and stuff. There's been a lot of talk on that. I remember like Bob Chick made a comment and he was talking about Sarah Villegas. And he said, you didn't have a problem when you were winning, but all of a sudden now that you're losing, it's politics. So what is it? Well, like, you know,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want
a
to get deep.
whole other controversial beef that's going on right there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like in this show, and I told this guy as well, his name was Jamie. He was the middleweight winner. And I told him, I said, I don't know how I beat you. I don't know how in the hell I beat you. Like I should not have beaten you. And to this day, I still believe this. A lot of people are like my friends told me, they all said you had better structure and you were bigger and you were just as hard. But Dan, he was good that day. He was really, really good. And I think he should have won that show, not me. But then I started doing a little bit more research, and this again, social media is kind of starting to get on the rise, and you could connect with people through Facebook. MySpace was still around back then.
MySpace. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had found out that, like, you know, Jamie had done that show a couple of times, and I guess he had bashed the judges online when he didn't win. And, you know, like one year he shows up with like a pink mohawk, and like there was something else that he did that I'll spare on this podcast that was not what I would call professional on stage
Mm.
with his attire. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I felt like it's not the fact that the judges liked me. I felt like they disliked him,
Yeah.
and he would have probably been a bad representation. So I felt like I got the nod because of politics. It was like they just didn't like him, so therefore they gave it to me. I genuinely feel that way to this day. Like, I don't think I should have won that contest.
Kind of the
But
same as something you mentioned not too long ago about that guy never could have won an Olympia, even if he would be the better one at
yeah,
the show because of some
yeah,
controversial actions in his past, and there's nobody in the IFBB Pro League on top who is going to allow, like you said, a 13-year-old kid Googling a Mr. Olympia, Guy Green, and seeing
yeah.
certain kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, Kai was obviously, you know, at the Olympia level. So, like, theoretically, like in my case, if I were to bash the Kentucky judges, as soon as I get out of Kentucky, I would have been fine at a national level.
Yeah.
But, like, when the Olympia judges know about your past, that's about as far as you're going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get past that.
It's not behind it anymore.
We had a like a little incident from a Dutch guy. a bodybuilder. He was doing the Italy Pro, I think, and then he was like almost dead last. And then the next day, because he finds himself the upcoming, and also always puts Mr. Olympia in his stories on Instagram. And then Andrea Presti, I think
Yeah,
that's the guy.
yeah.
He won it, and the guy that went dead last from the Netherlands, unfortunately, put on his story, "Oh, so this is what we're gonna do now. We're gonna give this guy with no legs win a show, also only because it's Italy." And the whole internet exploded, because how can you go that last and then put on your story to create sensation? How does a guy with no legs win a pro show? Even how is it possible? Okay, you take a L, but how is it possible to put on your story and say he
Yeah.
has no legs? How
You
does
might, you
somebody
might
wins
even
with
have
no legs?
seen, you might even have seen it because it was on quite almost every bodybuilding account on Instagram that there was. Yeah, I mean,
I didn't see
Andrea even
the controversy.
he even replied to it actually.
Yeah.
Who
That
did Presti?
yeah, Presti even replied to it with something like, "Yeah, but must hurt ass like to to yeah to have something to say about some people that win and then not even being invited to the finals, something like that."
Yeah, and then Andrea Presti was like, he's a very smart guy. He's a very good bodybuilder, but also very smart, because what he did, he didn't react, so he just gave a silent treatment, and then it exploded. And after 3 days, he reacted on his comment, and he said, "Maybe don't eat the pizza the whole week before the show." And everybody was like laughing his ass off. That's a
Well, I
reality
mean,
check.
that's definitely something he could say and get away with because I felt like he won. Like I don't know the guy you guys are referring to,
Yeah.
but I did. I remember that show. That was I don't know if I got his name right. Is it Johan or Johan, the guy who got second place?
I
I
think
don't
Johan, but
remember.
I know we Mania, yeah.
I thought he could have won, but Presti had a little bit better conditioning.
Yeah,
So I
his
mean,
conditioning was on
I,
point.
I, I it could have went either way, and I don't think anyone would have complained. But because Presti was actually the most conditioned guy there, it is funny that he would make that comment about eating a pizza leading up to the show.
Yeah, but that's
So I
that's
mean,
maybe that's maybe leading to a nice question for you. Do you have a moment you remember, like a loss was really hurtful? That a loss till today you were like, fuck, this one hurts.
there's a couple, yes. Um, I'm not complaining about maybe one or two of them I will complain about the decision, but and I'll get to that. But there's a couple of them where it was actually straight up my fault.
Mm.
Like just it was all my fault. Whenever I when I turned pro, I won my heavyweight class, but I lost the overall. And I personally feel like I should have won that overall, like at nationals. And the reason I felt like Brian was a little bit bigger than me because he was a super heavyweight, but I don't feel like he really outconditioned me. I felt like my structure, when I say bigger, I mean on the scale. Like he didn't necessarily have bigger arms, bigger legs, bigger like muscularity, but he was heavier than me. He was a larger person than me.
Uh,
And Brian was a great bodybuilder. He didn't have a very long career after that, but like he still was great. And I respect the hell out of Brian, but I felt like I beat him on that day. Um, and I didn't get rewarded for it. And to be fair, I was a little upset about that. I was happy to have won my pro card. I didn't get upset about it for like 3 days later because I didn't see, it's like I can see you over here, and that doesn't mean anything to me. I have to see photos of me and you posing side by side. And
exactly.
when I saw those photos come online, I was like, man, like, kind of think I should have won. Like, I saw the internet telling me that I should have won, but I never take, like, I realize there's fanboys out there. Like, there's people out there that think that, a 10th place Mr. Olympia is an uncrowned Mr. Olympia. It's like, no, no, stop. So like I don't take it to heart until I see it myself. And I saw the photos and I'm like, man, I think I should have won that. So I was a little bit upset about that, not gonna lie. Then I did my pro debut. I personally thought I should have been third. They gave me fifth. The only reason I say that is Rolly won that show and he won it easily. Rolly was like when I saw him 2 days out and his face was kind of puffy, and I was
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna beat him. But dude, the day of the show, he looked like a skeleton. Like his face was sunk in. As soon as he took his like suit off, I was like, okay, I'm screwed. I'm done.
Exactly.
I was like, I'm done. I was like, you're not winning this.
Never
And
mind,
then
go home.
Lionel Bayeki got second, and I feel like I might have outconditioned him a tiny bit, but his structure and size at that time was superior to mine.
I know, but
So
yeah,
I was like,
he's the French guy, right?
yeah, yeah,
The hardness that guy had it was ridiculous.
yeah. If what you say, the hardness?
Yeah, like the hard look he had.
Well, from the front, but from the
Yeah,
back is where he
Yeah,
failed
that's
because
mostly the issue.
he couldn't diet, man. I have heard from multiple sources, and these are very. I'm not going to name drop them because they're going to get DM'd if I do. But like these are people that is in his corner. A couple of them that actually coached him. He can't follow a diet. He just simply can't. Like if you tell this guy to eat 100 grams of carbs, he's eating 400 or 500 grams. Like it's not like he's having like instead of 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, he's having two. It's like he's going way overboard. I do believe that if Lionel Bayeki could have gotten his act together and showed up the way that like he should have showed up, I think he could have been top five, top three. This is a far statement. He could have been like top, I don't think he could have beaten the primetime Phil Heath because of his legs, but like he could have been top two, top three in the world
Mm.
if he could have actually got in shape at that time.
you get in shape like that with eating 500 grams of carbs instead of 100, which you should. I mean,
Yeah,
what if you do actually eat those 100 grams of
to
carbs?
be fair about it, like I don't promote and I don't discourage peptides. Like I'm very neutral with it. But like if he had GLP-1s
Yeah,
back then to be
yeah,
able to stop his appetite, his name would be more remembered today. Because right now nobody cares about him because he never really did that well
Yeah.
because he never got in shape. Like the last showing that he did, he got made fun of so bad because people was like, "Man, that was really nice of Lionel to show up in guest posts for us."
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah,
man,
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that
that's
was that
painful.
was the comments
That's
because
painful. But
everyone knows that he has like crazy talent, but he
yeah,
just never brought the conditioning that he needed.
but it's funny
But
that you say that about the GLP-1s because Samo and I actually know somebody that has been on GLP-1s multiple throughout his whole prep, retatrutide actually, and semaglutide, and still had like a binge at 2 days out.
oh
Mind
man,
you,
2 days out.
mind you, the motherfucker was a first timer, won everything, including his fucking pro card.
And how old was that guy?
22.
20 fucking two. In classic then, eh? In classic.
Classic
But
physique.
it's
But
first
that's
show.
still incorrect. That's
But
insane.
like the first timer and like kind of binge cheated like till 6 weeks out. Got it together at 6 weeks out, 2 days out, had a slipper of like 2 to 3K calories, he said. They went like zero carbs the next 2 days, and he won his fucking pro card on the last shows we also actually attended together. That's crazy.
What sucks about situations like that is what that does. Like, I'm not gonna say like names here. These are not like big names, but like I know certain people that have won shows and they didn't follow their diet leading into the show. And I wasn't rooting for them to win. I wanted them to lose, not because these are people that I personally know. And it's not because I don't like them. I do like them. I want to see people succeed, but like the fact that like I got one guy in my mind right now. He is so talented. Could be an Olympian. He never will be an Olympian because of this.
The
But
mentality.
I don't think he can go. I don't think he can go 3 days without actually eating off plan. But he can
Man, that's
still
such a
win a lot of.
shame.
He can win most shows doing that. And when he wins a show, that tells him mentally that like I can do this and get away with it.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
maybe
like
you,
imagine what you could do if you didn't cheat. Imagine how good you could
yeah.
be if you didn't do that. Like Just imagine, okay, Flex Wheeler is the perfect example. This guy's not anywhere near Flex Wheeler, but like Dorian Yates said himself, like if Flex Wheeler would have worked as hard, Dorian would have never won an Olympia.
Mm.
Flex Wheeler would have taken every single Olympia title in the 90s if he would have dieted hard enough and got like to that level of conditioning. He didn't even have to match Dorian's level of conditioning. That would be very difficult.
Yeah.
But like if he could have gotten to like 95%, he probably would have beaten Dorian every single time. Just because of that beautiful shape, structure, muscle
Oh
belly,
yeah,
small waist.
the
But like
symmetry.
he couldn't do it. And he was another guy that couldn't diet hard enough. He wasn't he didn't have the mental capacity to do that. And it sucks. I mean, I know what it feels like to go to bed hungry. I know what it feels like to just be thinking about food all the time. I think we all do.
Yeah,
Anyone that's
exactly.
ever
Yeah,
competed, we all know what that feels like. And it ultimately it comes down to, do you want to eat this burger or do you want to win this contest? Which one is it?
yeah.
Like it's,
What thing do you want the most?
I'll credit my old coach on a phrase. He taught me something, and I'll never forget this. And I try to pass this along to people. Most of the time, it falls on deaf ears. But Thackeray told me something, and I don't know if he told it directly to me or he said a quote on his page. But I was coached by him at the time, and he said, "Champions do what competitors don't." And I was like, "That's very, very valid." So I'm not here to compete. I'm here to win.
Oh yeah.
So like that was my attitude was like, I want to be the champion. I'm going to do things that the competitors won't do. I'm willing to do 2 hours of cardio if needed be. I'm willing to do no carbs if needed to be. If I need T3, I'll take T3. If I, whatever I need to do, I don't care. I'm going to do it. Like I'm not going to half-ass it, and I'm not going to go against what my coach says to do. And there was things that like even like I didn't agree with, but I was like, he told me to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
Like I don't
it's the
understand
athlete
it, I
mind.
don't want to question it. I just know that he's turned a lot of people pro, and he's worked with a lot of top end guys. He knows what the hell he's doing. Just shut up and do what he says to do, and that's what I did. I didn't complain about it. There was a lot of times I felt very tired, exhausted, uncomfortable, but I went through with it. And ultimately, I think being able to build that level of mental fortitude made me into a better bodybuilder, short term and long term. Because once you've suffered like that before and got to that level of conditioning, it's easier the next time around.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
you know what to expect. Like, you know how you were talking about young kids talking about road to pro and stuff like that?
Yeah, what I
Those are
say.
people that's never dieted, they've never been in shape. So like they see someone else like post 15, 14, 13, 12. They post all their progress pictures leading up to a show. They watch other people get shredded, they watch them win shows. But there's a difference in watching it and feeling it and doing it yourself.
Yeah,
Like it's fun to watch, don't get me wrong, it's amazing to watch, like it's exciting to watch, but when you actually do it, it isn't quite as exciting because there's good and there's bad that goes with it. And until you've done it, you really don't know if you can handle it or not.
you're gonna run
And
into
like,
yourself.
yeah, like I've worked with a lot of people before that has pro potential. Like I've been coaching since like 2012. I wasn't coaching on a high scale like a lot of clients until about 2017. So my first 5 years of coaching, I only took on like 10 to 15 people. That was it because I didn't want any more and I didn't need any more either. Like my bills are paid, my income was solid. I wanted 10 to 15. That's all I wanted. And I've coached a lot of people over the years that have had pro potential, but they've never been at like pro level conditioning. And that's where they fail at because they weren't able to achieve that. They see it on other people and they see the success that other people have, but they don't understand what those people have to endure to get to that level of success. That level of discipline. Like when the show is over, let's say you are someone who is able to get into shape. Great. So now the show's over, off season begins. You're just doing a different prep in the opposite order. Instead of dieting down, you're dieting up. And a lot of people, when the show's over, they binge eat. They take 3 weeks off the gym, 3 months off the gym. It's like, well, today I don't feel like training. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go party. I'm going to like they do everything that they shouldn't be doing in the off season. In the off season, it's not any different than a contest prep. It's the same thing, just different volume of food.
Yeah.
The training is still hard. Your body weight gets heavier, and in my opinion, the off season is harder than the prep because you're
100%.
carrying extra body weight. You're eating food that like you don't really have a desire to eat that much food. Like your appetite doesn't match what you need to grow. So like sometimes you're sometimes you're eating when you're not hungry. Sometimes you're force feeding to try to get calories down, and that's hard for people, and they can't do it. And that those are the guys that I feel like you see that whether it be on a state level, national level, or a pro level show, no matter what level they're at, they don't get better. Those are the ones that you see show up year after year after year, and they look exactly the same because they're not putting in the work in the off season. And then the ones that don't get in shape, it's always the same reason. It's like you didn't get in shape last year because you cheated on your diet. What makes you think it's going to be better this year? It's not going to be any easier. Like dieting sucks no matter what. Like I have dieted. I've like when I won my pro card and when I did my first national show, I had a job, like a 9 to 5, a 40-hour week job. And then after I got sponsorships, I didn't have a job. It didn't get easier without the job. It did not get easier. Matter of fact, it might have made it harder because now I have extra time and I'm thinking about
Think
food.
about food. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of being occupied working, now I'm thinking about food. So like it doesn't get people think, well, I was stressed out at this show. And I'm like, dude, life is about stress. Like we all have stress. There's no such unless you are like I believe if you're the richest man in the world, you're probably still going to have some level of stress.
Obviously, but I think about other things.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
like
mean, there's always stress. But just might be another level, might be about other things. I mean, there's always something people have to
there's
worry about.
there's other obstacles that I would give people a pass on. Like when I won the Orlando Pro, I had a breakup and I had to move out at 10 days away from the show.
Yeah,
I was 10 days out, me and my girlfriend at that time, we split up. It was not fun. It was very stressful. And I showed up and I still looked my best. Now, granted, that was just a breakup and I literally packed my shit and I left. That was that. Now, when guys are married and they're going through a divorce and like you have to live with that person, I will give those guys a pass because that would be a very high stress, tense situation. And I've never had to live through that. So like I don't know what that feels like. But like people just make excuses like, well, I had to do some overtime, or people talk about kids. I don't want to hear those type of excuses like Joe Palacios. Joe's kid or his son was like 1 to 2 months old when he did his season this year, sorry, in 2025.
No.
And I actually told him when I found out that his wife, or at the time it was his girlfriend, it's his wife now. When she was pregnant, I was like, buddy, I think we may need to postpone the 2025 season. Like you're about to be a new dad. You're gonna diet while she's pregnant. I was like, she's not gonna be fun to be around while she's pregnant.
Exactly.
and,
It
and
turns
he is
out,
being fun. He's going to be fun being around while he's dieting.
yeah, I was like, he's dieting and she's pregnant. I was like, you guys are gonna kill each other.
The
It's
rest of
like
the tester.
an ultimate
But
test.
yeah, but it turns out like Ashley's a very laid back, cool person, and she's not bitchy. She didn't take her problems out on him. They work very well as a team, which is why they're married now. Like that obviously was a very good fit. And she actually told him, she said, this doesn't stop anything. She goes, I want you to be who she goes, you were a
That's
pro bodybuilder before you met me, and I want you to continue this journey. So if you have someone in your corner who will support you like that, you're golden. Keep that and I told Joe, I was like, you need to hold on. Like this is the woman you need to keep.
Don't fuck it
Like
up.
the fact that she was pregnant and she let you do a bodybuilding show and she supported you and encouraged you through it, like be
No, but
thankful.
even the fact that she's letting him do bodybuilding as a whole already,
Yeah,
like training and eating, and not even talking about competing then. Like,
Yeah.
No, but I have a quick little story about that because Robin and Nick, we did a show, the William Bonek and the Iron Man last December, and till this day I don't forget. Like yeah, Justin, we won the super heavies and the juniors, and then the super heavyweights were with four people, but those were all above 30 years old. And then a young boy come and gets everything. That was nice. But then I get backstage, and then when the guy, I think it was second or third, and maybe his wife comes around, and then he says, "Oh, it doesn't matter. For me, you're the winner of the day." And I was cringing like hell. I'm like, what the hell? And that's what I mean with the wife of Joe. If you have that, every successful man has a good partner next to each other. Because I think if you can just fix it, and now even with the kid, because our last podcast that just went out today, he's
Yeah.
also becoming a dad. So he was preparing his season. He's gonna do one regional and then two pro qualifiers in May, and then he shuts it down because then his the next son is born. So that's really nice. So we talked about like the life of getting children and if the mindset shifts because you're not only doing it for yourself but also for your son. So
Yeah.
that's very very nice. But I was just a quick little story that was like
Yeah, it kind of resonates back to our last podcast, guys, actually as well. Indeed, with that in that case. So I think it might be a good idea to jump into some questions from here. We
we
got a
got a
couple
lot
of
of
questions.
questions.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions from viewers and subscribers for you. So might be diving into that one. Starting off with the first one is I don't know how many coaches you had throughout your career, but might as well be not just coaches you know and not that haven't coached you. But from which coach have you learned the most throughout your whole career? So starting from being an amateur to being pro till actually nowadays.
Okay. I'll answer that, but just out of curiosity, like where your all's fan base is, will they be able to understand English, or will you guys have to translate this?
Most of them will understand. Most of the people in the Netherlands speak English.
Okay. Okay. That's cool. That's
Yeah,
what I was concerned about.
yeah.
Before I get to the questions, like I want to I want to make fun of Americans a little bit. I'll
Okay.
make fun of my own people because Americans always feel like we are superior. The average American feels like he's smarter than everyone, he's better than everyone, like compared
Yeah,
to other countries, when in reality, we're probably one of the lower IQ countries. Like, and I hate to say that, but like, and the reason I'm going to say it is like people that I've met from outside of Canada, because, well, actually, Canadians oftentimes can speak French. Like
yeah,
that's a thing too, because they have French Canadians. But like a lot of Mexicans can speak English. They speak two languages. Like I know a lot of people in South America that can speak three and four languages.
Yeah.
Like Europeans can speak your native language and they speak English. So a lot of Americans think they're smart. I'm like, dude, I can't even have a conversation with like 50% of the Florida population because I can't speak Spanish. Like we have a huge Spanish population here, and like I don't have a clue. And then yeah, I know what that means.
yeah.
Yeah.
¿Cómo
That's
está? All
about
right.
it. I
Yeah.
know like two words, but I'm just glad that they're going to be able to understand English.
Yeah,
So back to that.
we actually having English is obligated in I think from middle school. So you start. I think middle school is basisschool for us. It's and you
Yeah,
start off with when you're like from age 10, you actually start getting English lessons throughout your basically your whole school periods. So
I'm glad that they do, and I really wish they would implement something like that in North America, but not necessarily. Excuse me. Like I know our primary language is English, but like the secondary language here is probably going to be Spanish.
yeah,
Like because obviously we have Mexico, we have all the Central American countries that mostly speak Spanish, and then we got Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and then South America. You have a couple of different languages in South America, but like if you can speak Spanish, you can most likely speak Portuguese or at least understand as well with Brazil.
Mm.
I think it should be mandatory for us to have to speak Spanish. That way, like, it furthers our education and we're able to communicate with everyone on our entire continent.
Yeah.
It needs to be done. Like, I wish we would start that at like 10 years old here. I wish I could speak Spanish. I really do. I just feel like maybe I am smart enough. I just don't have the patience to learn at this point. But anyways, back to the questions. Shit on people in my own country. But I think as far as like the coaches that I've worked with that has taught me, the ones that I've learned the most from, it's probably going to be Factory. And I'm going to accredit him to this. And I'll give everyone their props as well. Jason Theobald, Scooby Prep. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
No.
Jason prepped me for like 1 week. He just did my peak week for a show when I was a teenager. I learned a lot through Jason as well. And 1 week I learned a lot from him, but I didn't learn the most from him.
Yeah.
With Shelby taught me that I have the ability to get peeled, like top level conditioning. Factory taught me how to just shut the fuck up, put my head down, work in silence, and just stay focused. But he also taught me to kind of believe in myself, and also he taught me to trust in him. And when I say trust in him, what I mean by that is, like, a lot of coaches will sit here and tell you how great you are, but they're bullshitting you.
Yeah.
Like, and I thought, Factory's telling me, like, I remember the year that I got my pro card. He's like, you're going to kill everyone. And I said, you're my coach, man. You have to tell me that. Like, at the time, I didn't really believe the words that was coming out of his mouth or coming out of the keyboard. I didn't really believe it, but I was like, I know he knows what he's doing. I was like, but he has to tell me this stuff, right? He's not going to be like, yeah, Justin, you're going to be a third call out guy, but you'll do good, He's
You
not
might
gonna say
think
that.
him, it's not the best thing to say, no.
But like, I realize he's real. Like, he says it how it is, and he tells you the truth. You may like it, you may not like it, but he tells you the truth. And he pushed me to a point where I thought there was days I was like, fuck, I was like, there's not enough coffee in the world. There's not enough energy. Like, but you got to do this. I was like, he taught me the mental fortitude that I needed to be able to have a successful career later on.
Yeah.
So I do attribute that to him. And then a lot of people don't know this, and I don't talk about this on many shows because there was a lot of, I'm going to say, indiscrepancies and problems that went with this prep. So Factory coached me in 2011 for junior nationals, which we got second out of 33. And then later that year, he actually discouraged me to do nationals. He didn't want me to do it because he knew I wasn't ready to be a pro yet. That wasn't him being a dick to me. That was him saying, you got what it takes, more time, more time. Like, and I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to go pro. I wanted it now. So I hired Hani Rambod. And I worked with Hani for one prep. Now, this is where I want to be very clear with the people listening. When I went on and I was sponsored with Evogen, Hani had nothing to do with those preps. Zero to do with those preps. Nothing. But when I worked with Hani, I did have a stressful job, but it didn't stop me. I still, like, when people complain, I was like, okay, I was dating a girl who had 2 kids. I was trying to be not a father figure, but more of a role model. Like, she was older than me. So these kids were not like 2 or 3 year old kids. They were old enough that, like, I could talk to them like an adult. And like, her oldest son, I became friends with. Really cool kid. And now I see his Instagram pictures. He's off and married and stuff. And it's like, damn, I'm old. But like, I'm trying my best to be a good boyfriend. I'm trying to be a role model for these kids. I'm trying to work a full-time job. Hani's asking me to do 90 minutes of cardio a day. He gave me his training, which took me like 90 minutes a day too. So it's like I'm putting 3 hours into the gym. I have an hour commute to work, an hour commute back to work. And then I'm still trying to spend time with my family. Like, I made it work. But that being said, about Hani on that prep, I think Hani, I don't want to say he didn't understand on this. We later went on to find out a lot of my stuff was not legit, like my gear.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't train a natural bodybuilder the same as you would an enhanced bodybuilder with the diet and expect the same results.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference in training enhanced people and natural people. And I
Mm.
wasn't like natural. Like I think some of my stuff was good, and some of my stuff wasn't.
Maybe
So
a
we
bit
showed
on the
up.
dose.
Well, I know for a fact the Winstraw was fake, the Masteron was fake, the EQ was fake. I think I may have had some trend, maybe. My test was real because I know if my test is real. But I
Yeah.
think I basically got, I think I pretty much did that prep with test. That's all I think I took. Everything else was junk. Um,
That's
it is
fucked
what it
up,
is.
man.
So like, you know, I go there, I'm stressed out and stuff, but like that's not Hani's fault on that. There is one thing I did learn from that prep that I'll get into in a second. He did have me use two different diuretics, and
Mm.
my body does not respond well to that at all. It's very terrible. Like when I was 3 days out, I genuinely felt like I could have probably made the top five. But by the time I got to show day, this was also my first time ever traveling, like for a show. I
Mm.
traveled from Kentucky to Florida, so I had to get on a plane. I didn't understand the water retention, the different climate that I'm going to be involved in.
Yeah.
Kentucky's cold in November. Florida's hot in November.
Yeah.
Like, and it's humid as hell down here. My body didn't have time to acclimate. So none of this was actually Hani's fault. The
Mm.
fact that I was 13th place. Like, I don't blame him for that at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have signed a contract with him like 3 years later, right? Like,
Exactly.
we had no beef. There was no problem with that. It wasn't the best prep. So, fast forward, I did go back to factory after that. I couldn't afford Hani. As a matter of fact, I didn't go back to factory immediately because I couldn't afford anyone.
You put everything in that
I
one.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't have a lot of money, but I
Mm.
also knew how to do an off season myself at that
Mm.
point. So, or at least I thought I did. And
Yeah.
I did pretty well. I did very well. And then like 6 months out, you know, hit factory up and I said, hey, you know, I had my septum fixed in my nose, which is now broken again, thanks to my dumbass dog. Uh,
Did he give you a headbutt?
yeah, he did, man. This surgery is not fun. Like it's not up here, but it's the one on the inside.
Oh,
So
yeah, and
like,
that one's rotting, obviously.
yeah,
They're gonna take it out of
no,
your ear then, right?
do what?
They will take out the bone out of your ear and place it in your nose, right? Or not?
No, they go in and they actually break this
Oh man.
and they set it straight because your nose is what's called a self-cleansing organ.
Yeah.
Well, like if you constantly can breathe out of one side and not the other, it's either one of two things. You either have allergies really bad or you probably have a deviated septum.
Mm.
I got a deviated septum when I was a kid because I wrecked a dirt bike. And it never bothered me until I got big.
Mm.
And when you get big, you need more oxygen, right? So you know, I got all that fixed, and like I said, my jackass dog broke it like 6 months ago. He's a bully that's like 60 pounds, and he likes to jump. And I leaned forward, and he jumps up, and it would be like someone catching me, not straight on, but like he caught me from the side. His head hit me from this side, and I started pouring blood out of this side.
Hey.
And
And I
those
was
booty
like,
heads are like they're hard as fuck. It's ridiculous.
yeah, I think if I punched that dog in the head, I don't think he would feel it.
I think you would probably break your own hand instead of his hand.
It would hurt me more than it would
Yeah,
him.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he broke my septum again, but that's a whole different story. So I got my septum fixed. I'm back on track. I hired factory for that show. We win the show, and that was obviously probably the leanest I had ever been in my life. That was 2012, and then in 2013, I continued to work with him, and it came down to a financial situation on my end eventually because I still didn't have contracts at this point. I wasn't making good money.
Yeah.
So we did the Chicago Pro. As I think I retained him that off season, and I went through the Chicago Prep, at which I thought we nailed that too. We just didn't get the placing. I think I should have been third because Issa was fat. I'm sorry to say it, but the dude was just fat on stage.
Mm.
And then Bill Wilmore, Bill actually talked to me later, like several years later, and he said, for what it's worth, I think you should have beaten me. And I respected the hell out of Bill for saying that because most guys will not admit it if they feel like they got a place that they shouldn't deserve. And I just told you 2 shows, I don't think I should have won them. Most people won't say that.
No.
But, I've always loved Bill. Bill's very straightforward as well. But Bill placed ahead of me on that show. But again, it is what it is. But after that, I realized, like, man, like you got to buy another car. Like your girlfriend is buying a house, and which essentially what I was doing is I was just splitting the mortgage with her. The cost of everything starting to go up. It's starting to catch me. So I did my own prep, my own off season for a while, anyways. Then I signed with Gear Neutral, and that was the biggest joke of the industry because I don't think they ever actually did produce a product. Like it was kind of I don't even know what it was. We all got conned. We all got screwed ultimately. But long story short, the owner of the company calls me and Aaron Clark. You guys remember Aaron?
No,
Aaron was
before my time, I think.
Aaron was a New York Pro 212 champion. He was third in the Arnold 212. I think he was top 5 in the Olympian, the 212. Aaron was really good. So like Gear signed all the young up and coming names. So he calls us one day and he said, "Hey, I have great news." He goes, "I hired you guys a coach." I said, I was a little bit offended by that, to be honest, because I was like, if you want to hire, if you as my supplement company want to pay for my coaching, I appreciate that, but I want to know who I'm working with. Like, because there was certain people I wasn't willing to work with. And he didn't tell me who at first. He's like, I hired you guys a coach. I want to make sure you all win and you succeed. And it was Factory.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, shit, I guess everything's good. We're just going to keep right on going, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I got back with Factory for a period of time. And then I remember he had asked me, hey, can you contact Pete about the check? And I said, what check?
Check?
What are you talking about? And he hadn't been paid, like for me or Aaron, because the company agreed to pay him, like not me paying, but like Pete, the owner of the company, was supposed to pay him, and he wasn't paying him. So I was like, sure, I'll reach out because he was ignoring Factory because he wasn't going to pay him, and he never did pay him. So I reach out and I don't get a response. I waited a week or two. And I'm like, after a week or two, you've had time to read an email, read a text message, and either you're going to respond or you're not, one or the other. So I got thinking, I was like, I don't work for free, right? None of us can. Like everything, like I don't feel like I charge too much. I don't feel like I charge too little, but like I still can't do it for free, right? So like Factory over here, the guy lives in New York City at the time. He's in Brooklyn. I know the cost of living is super expensive. So like I'm trying to be respectful to this guy. And I was like, hey man, I can't get a hold of Gear. They won't respond to my messages. And I said, you're coaching me for free. He actually agreed to continue doing it. And I said, no, I don't work like that. I don't want a handout. Like, I don't want you to work for free because your level of knowledge, your level of expertise deserves to be paid. Like, I feel like anyone with a high credential level, it's like a lawyer, for example. If a guy has won murder cases, he deserves to be paid. Like, he doesn't work for free or work on hopes. So, like, I was like, I don't feel comfortable taking your money, or not your money. I don't feel comfortable taking your services because I knew he wasn't going to get paid. And the reason I knew that was I knew that the company was in default with several other situations. Like if they're not paying, because I mean, coaching is a small fee compared to these other things that they had signed. Like they had to deal with muscular development. The owner of muscular development had called me and he didn't ask me directly, but he was asking, hey, are you still getting paid? So like people are fishing around. What the hell is going on? And I realized like they're struggling financially and they're not paying people. And I was thinking to myself, like, if they're not paying muscular development, why the hell would they ever pay Factory? Why would they ever pay him? So I was like, I'm not gonna, because I respected him. Like I was like, I don't want to take your services for free. So I was like, okay, and I said, we'll get back together if we get back together. If we don't, I think the world of you, and I always will. And that's kind of how that ultimately ended there. Well, I started doing my own prep, and I told myself, I was like, what do you got to lose? Like you got fifth at your last pro show. If you show up and you win, that's great. If you show up and you lose, it's like, well, you coached yourself and you have a learning experience. So at that point, I never thought I was going to be an Olympian. I didn't think I was good enough. I still thought this was the end of the line. Like you'll be a first call out guy, but you're not ever going to really win anything.
Mm.
Well, actually, my prep was easy. I took all that shit that I learned when I was a teenager and my up and coming years, and then I took everything that Factory taught me, and I took everything that I had learned along the way because I had friends that had coaches, and I'm like, okay, I'm problem solving, like I'm figuring things out, and I'm like, okay, we're doing this, I'm doing this, I'm taking pictures every day, I'm posing every day, I'm doing like I was changing my diet every day to match the needs of my body and what I needed to do with the timeline of the show. And it worked out really well. And I finally got to the point when I was about 3 weeks out, and I was like, you look really good. Like, you might have a chance at winning this. So I continued doing what I was doing. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't do anything stupid. I didn't do any crazy drastic protocols, which that was also something. Factory literally would have you're 2 weeks out, your diet's not going to change much from 2 weeks out to 2 days out.
Mm.
Like, don't do anything stupid or crazy. I mean, food goes up or down accordingly, depending on if you're flat, losing weight, obviously, but like you're not eating cheeseburgers and that kind of shit 2 weeks out.
Mm.
So I essentially kind of took a lot of those methods and I'm combining stuff and I'm learning my own body. And I also remember whenever the competitors list came out, I didn't want anybody to see me because I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I knew I looked good.
Mm.
And I wanted to stay like in the dark. I wanted people to think, Justin will be third, fourth, and fifth. I didn't, because I knew there was one guy, it was John De La Rosa. I knew John was going to be hard to beat. I think that was John's best year, was 2014. I still think that was his best year. If anybody wants to prove me wrong, I would love to see 2014 pictures beside any other picture of John. Any picture. Don't care. Show me where he was better. But like that, and I didn't know John was going to be that good either. He made drastic improvements from 13 to 14. So did I. But going into that show, I was like, maybe you can beat him. But the owner of Muscular Development calls me. He was like, hey, Justin, I didn't even know you were doing the Europa. And I was like, well, I wasn't supposed to. That was not my intentions to do that show. I was supposed to do the Arnold Brazil. Everyone basically told me with my sponsors that like, we're going to get you the invite. Like you just need to start prepping. You're going to get it. So I started prepping. I didn't understand the Arnold was invitation only. And if you don't have your invite by like a certain time, you're not getting it. You don't get a last second entry to the Arnold. It doesn't work like that. Like you don't qualify for the Arnold. You have to be invited to the Arnold. But just so happens that year in 2014, they took all the Europa shows. There was the Orlando, I think there was one in Texas, and there was another one. I don't remember where it was. If you won the Europa, you got it's like you're punching your ticket to the Olympia, but you're punching your ticket to the Arnold as well.
Mm.
You get an automatic invitation. I wanted that because my sights were not set on the Olympia. My sights was set on the Arnold because that was the first major expo I had ever been to. I was like, I want to compete at that stage. Like I wasn't thinking I was good enough to be at the Olympia. Like that's a whole different level there. That's the top level. The Arnold is right below it. I was like, I want that qualification. So I showed up in Orlando, prepped myself. My mom actually flew down with me, and I always credit my mom to a lot of stuff. Like people don't understand this, but like my mom doesn't understand what to do with food. My mom probably didn't understand that there was even supplements involved in bodybuilding. But she knew like, Justin, you're a little fat right now, or Justin, you're flat or you look great. Like she knew when I was on and when I wasn't on. Like she knew what she was looking at on stage. She knew what she was looking at every time because I wanted to be consistent with my pictures. So I would drive from my apartment to my parents' house and I would take photos because I
Yeah.
wanted to be with the same camera, same light, same time of day. And I stayed consistent with that. So my mom saw every single check-in I ever did. She saw it live and in person. So I asked my mom to go with me to the show
She
just for
basically
moral support.
she basically picked you.
Well, I did the work, but she did kind of tell me like, you look really, really good right now. Your tan
Yeah,
looks
that's cool. That's
perfect,
awesome.
or you need a little bit more tan. Like my mom helped me out a lot with that.
That's
I'm not
great.
saying she knows bodybuilding. She don't need to be prepping competitors or no shit like that, but like she knew me. She
Yeah.
knew if I was on. So I win that show, and I remember on stage, uh, Bob Ciccarello asked me about doing the Olympia. And I knew I wasn't doing it, but I didn't have the balls to actually say that. Because at that point in my life, I had just gotten out of a relationship. I didn't know where my life was headed. So I ended up meeting someone like a month later. And because I might have considered the Olympia had that have not happened. But I was like, you need more size, you need more time, muscle maturity, you need a lot of improvements. Like, why would I go to the Olympia just to get my ass handed to me? Like, I don't want to do that. I was like, take the time. You already got your Arnold invitation now. But back to that original question, I think I do have to attribute Factory for being able to give me the mental strength that to learn to be able to push that hard. Because otherwise, I probably would have said, "Oh, you're good at 260 pounds, like like because you got quads at 260, your front shots look good at 260, but like I knew my back shots weren't 100%. And he was the guy who pushed those back shots to get me where I needed to be. So I knew the conditioning I had to be in. I had to replicate that conditioning if I'm going to win.
Yeah.
So I attribute him for that.
That's great.
I worked with,
That's awesome.
I did work with Jansen for one prep. Me and Matt actually didn't have the relationship that people thought we had. Like people thought that he prepped me in 14, 15, 16. He prepped me for the 2016 Arnold. He did not prep me for 15 or 14. We became training partners. Like, and to be fair about it, like, obviously, me and Matt don't speak to this day. Like, we don't talk. I don't think a lot of people like Matt anymore. That's a whole different fiasco. That's a different conversation. But I will say, Matt was the best training partner I ever had. Like, I won't take that from him at all. Like, he knew when to like push harder and he knew when to pull back. He knew when to say, "Hey, Justin, man, you've done 30 sets. You need to call it." Like this is because he knew I wouldn't stop. Like I would just keep going and going and going and going. And he knew like, if I wanted to do like four reps, if I done two, he's like, "Hey, rack it. Like you're done. Like I'm moving the weight more than you're moving the weight." Like so Matt was a great training partner for me. He was a great asset to me in my life at that time. But he did prep me in 2016. And I'm gonna like defend him but also kind of throw him under the bus as well. The very beginning of that prep, I had C. diff, CDIFF. If anyone wants to Google that, that's a very, very rough little disease. Like it can be fatal in some cases. Typically, you find it in nursing homes. Well, just so happens the girl that I was dating at that time worked in a nursing home.
That's crazy.
So essentially, I'll make it short. C. diff, you shit yourself to death.
Oh wow.
You can die from it. I caught C. diff in the beginning of the prep, lost 20 pounds. I ended up tearing my pectineus. I was fighting with my girl. I lost my grandfather at 4 weeks out, my last grandparent alive. So my brain was not in the best place that whole prep. I couldn't train legs for like 7 or 8 weeks because I had an injury. So all that took an effect on my physique. But also, Matt was the type that he liked to incorporate. Just going to say a different style of dieting. Rather than going into the details, it was a different style than what I had done. And it wasn't working. My body wasn't responding. And I think it was around 6 weeks out, I had to basically have a conversation with him. And he kept telling me, "You're on track. You're on track. You look great." I'm like, "Matt, Here's 2015 at 16 weeks out. Here's 2016 at 16 or 6 weeks out. We're not on track. I'm behind. I'm smaller and I'm softer. This is not the objective.
Mm.
So essentially, I kind of had to say either we're going to go this way or I'm going to have to take it over and do it myself because I'm getting smaller and I'm not getting more conditioned. Like this is not how it's supposed to be.
Bad situation.
We agreed on that. And we agreed on it. And I think that actually learned Matt a lot about my body. But we also failed again right at the end. When I say right at the end, we used 2 diuretics and it fucked me. Like it fucked me pretty hard too.
2 whole ones.
Do what?
Two taps?
No. Two different
Oh,
drugs.
2 different ones. Yeah.
Aldactone and diazide.
Yeah.
And that just does not work for me at all. And I don't think it works for big guys in general. Like I don't like the more muscle you have, I feel like you have a greater chance of screwing that up when you do that. But that's that's hearsay because I do know there is a specific top level coach who does use both, and just so happens he has trained some of the best bodybuilders in the world. So it just didn't work for me. So that's kind of that. Like I said, back to the original comment, factory helped me the most, but I kind of gave my my feelings or my philosophy on the other people that I worked with as well.
Yeah. Okay. One of the last questions, and we're all 3 fat guys from the inside. Sweet dudes. What's your favorite cheat meal? And I know you can eat a lot.
Yeah. I hate this. Like, I love breakfast food.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, love, man. French toast, pancakes. Give it all to me, man. Yeah.
So if I had to
Cereals.
pick my favorite meal, maybe not necessarily one specific item, but like I would take like a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel with like an Asiago bagel or an everything bagel, hash browns or like home fries, like breakfast potatoes. That's plate number 1. Plate number 2, I'm going to be very specific. It's got to be banana Nutella pancakes with whipped cream and syrup.
Hitting it over there, man. Yeah.
That's it. And I make that myself. I actually ate it yesterday morning.
I'm gonna eat it tomorrow morning.
But I love cheesecake, I love ice cream, I love cake, but the banana Nutella pancakes ranks number 1.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But actually, my go-to free meal would be normally it would be sushi. But I last post show, I was eating pancakes a lot. Like I craved pancakes so much after the show actually, because during prep I barely had any cravings at all. But after the show, the only thing I was craving was like pancakes and French toast, and we've got this small Dutch pancakes. We call them poffertjes. Don't know if you ever heard about them. It's kind of similar, but it's like small, thick little pancakes, like this big.
Yeah,
And
so
you just have
puffy
a
pancakes.
you just have a whole plate of them, Dutch
Is
mini
it?
pancakes, and you eat them with like sugar, powdered sugar, and with
Yeah.
butter. Yeah,
Are they really thick?
yeah. They're kind of
Okay.
puffed up little pancakes.
Check this out after we get off the show. See if it looks like Japanese pancakes. It's called souffle. You can get them really big, but yeah, they're like super fluffy, like a cake.
No, wait. I'm gonna check if I can find a picture of it. But because I know what you mean right now, but it's not that.
Okay.
All right. So this. Wait, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys.
The French toast definitely is like a strong second
French
for me.
toast is amazing. So these are poffertjes, Dutch mini pancakes. So they're getting baked like this, and you
Yeah.
eat them in a plate like this with butter and powdered sugar, basically.
It would be good, yeah.
Yeah,
The only thing I would add to it is I would want some fruit with it.
oh, like this over here.
Like some bananas or strawberries. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here you can eat with
That's what I want.
strawberries and some clods actually. So yeah, it's amazing. Even people are even making skewers with them. So
Yep.
it's ridiculous. So, yeah, that's poffertjes. So I crave that a lot. But most of the times, my go-to free meal would be sushi actually. Um, so yeah, I know for Samo it's always like pizza, like the big American cheese onion. That's his favorite. I know that.
Or after show, I never ordered food from outside delivery. But after after the show, I was a big fan of smash burgers. That's kind of new
Yeah.
in here, but oh my God.
This guy couldn't shut up about truffle mayonnaise. He
Oh,
did.
like a
What,
world
what
open for me.
Truffle mayonnaise.
was
They have
that?
this. I think you know what mayonnaise is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but then with truffle.
Oh, like on the fries or on the
Yeah,
burger?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
so
We have
yeah,
that.
they make mayonnaise with truffle extract in it over here, and he never
That's
Okay.
had
crazy.
that. This guy he couldn't shut up about it like a week
Oh,
straight.
I'm sure it's good.
Yeah,
I've never
it's
had it,
very
but I'm sure
good, but
it's good.
he never had it before, but he was talking about it straight on for almost a week.
But yeah, I think French toast, like, but see, when it comes to pancakes and French toast, I'm very particular about certain items. Like for example, yesterday, like my coffee, I was in Walmart and I was like, I was getting frustrated because we couldn't like I like a certain cream. I
Oh
get
yeah.
this sugar-free caramel macchiato, and I was like, God damn it. I was like, they don't have any of it. I'm upset. And the guy behind me, he goes, I get it, bro. He's like, you gotta have that coffee the way you want. I was like, yeah. I was like, there's certain things I care about, and certain things I don't. But like with the breakfast food, I personally like to do it myself and not eat out for breakfast
Hmm.
because like if I go to a restaurant and it says like peanut butter banana pancakes, that's another favorite of mine. However, if
Obviously.
you bring me a dish of pancakes, like let's just say, like there's like this big of pancakes,
Yeah,
and
just a
you give
small
me like,
portion.
well, no, it's not the pan. No, let's just say a big plate of pancakes, right?
Oh,
Large
yeah.
large plate of pancakes. And since we all weigh our food, we'll understand this. If you give me a large plate of pancakes with like 15 grams of peanut butter and like 50 grams of banana, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, what
Yeah.
is this? What is this shit? Like, I'm upset. Like, I don't even want to eat this anymore because
Rightfully.
when I make my own, I'm probably like if I do like the Nutella or the peanut butter, I'm putting like anywhere between 60 to 100 grams of Nutella or peanut
50-50
butter.
ratio on pancakes and peanut butter.
And then I'm taking like 2 to 3 bananas, and I'm like I've got a plate that's this big, this tall. That like I like my toppings, and it's the same with like French toast. But like I do, there's a local place that does really good French toast here. They kind of went a little too woke or liberal the way that they act now, so I don't go there. But they use a bread. So if you guys want the best French toast, the bread that you have to use is called challah bread, but it's
Yeah.
spelled CHALLAH. Some people call it egg bread, but
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a very thick, it's like it's the perfect bread for French toast. Because I remember asking them, I was like, why is y'all's French toast better than everybody else? And they told me the bread they use. I was like, you all fucked up because now I'm going to do it myself. So I started doing my own, and I like take apples and I like make cinnamon apples and I fry them,
It's
and then
like
I add that on
it's
top
this
of my
bread, isn't
French
it?
toast. Yeah, that's it. That's the best French toast bread right
Hell
there.
yeah.
Yeah. And right here you have them French toast, but it's with eggs they make it here.
Yeah, yeah. That bread that first one or that one there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them I saw. That's the best French toast bread. So if you want to make your own French toast, there's a way. Get your own recipe right, but use that bread. So that's
Okay.
my thing. And then like if I go out to eat, uh, I I just prefer kind of the more of a basic stuff like a burger and fries or like a steak potato. But I like my appetizers. I'll take a dessert. Like potato skins. You know, uh, like chips and queso, stuff like that. Like I enjoy that, but like breakfast food will always rank number one with me.
Yeah, I love breakfast too. I love breakfast. Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Justin. I just have one more question actually that I want to
Yep.
ask everybody on the podcast. Um, just in a few sentences, um, who would Justin Compton be without bodybuilding?
Oh shit, that's a terrible question.
Putting you right on the spot there.
I honestly don't know, man. Like I've actually had that conversation with like a few of my friends, and like I've had that conversation with my girl. Like I really don't know because I feel like my entire life would be different right now. Like it without bodybuilding, I wouldn't be on this podcast, obviously.
Mhm.
This house probably wouldn't exist around me. Like I probably would have ultimately, if I didn't win that, remember that show I told you? I said I won like the Mr. Kentucky or the Kentucky
Uh,
Muscle.
The big show, yeah.
Had I have not won that contest, I don't think I would have pursued national level, and I definitely would have never turned pro. If
That's
I would have
crazy.
gotten second in that contest, I was going to quit right there. That was it. Because I just wanted to do one more show before I graduated
Oh, it
college.
was that one, yeah.
So, and because I won it, and everyone was like, dude, you got like pro potential. And I'm like, are y'all blowing smoke up my ass? Is this for real? Like I didn't believe that, but I tried it. But had I have not won that show and I didn't get any feedback from that show and people just said, oh, just another guy showed up, I probably would have went on and I still would have continued lifting weights because I'm not going to stop. I probably wouldn't have continued taking, PEDs. I probably would have stopped that. I would
Yeah.
have tried to have got my natural test levels back, or I would have just went on TRT at an early age. Or I think, like I said, I think I would have still continued to lift. I don't think that would have ever stopped me, but I most likely would have ended up working as an engineer. And I have to thank bodybuilding for all this because I have a lot of friends who work a 9 to 5 job that they hate. They absolutely hate their job. They hate their life. They don't want to come home because they hate their wife. They don't want to deal with anything. Like, I feel like that would have been me. I would have been working as an engineer, getting greasy and sweaty all the time, and coming home and stinking. And I probably would have eventually got lonely, and I probably would have had like a 300-pound wife that I hated, and like
Instead of yourself being at 300 pounds.
yeah, like I feel like things could have went so much differently had I have not
Yeah,
won that contest because it definitely changed the course of my life.
yeah,
Like it changed the course of my life permanently. And I've had this conversation recently as well, like with like personal friends of mine.
yeah.
I don't know, like without bodybuilding, I feel like I lose my identity. And that's something that I admit that I struggle with.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
actually also why I'm asking the questions to our guys on the podcast because a lot of we know a lot of bodybuilders, but we don't actually know them. So
yeah,
that's also the idea of the podcast to dig a little bit deeper into the person behind the physique,
yeah.
and see who they really are. So that's a little
Because
bit trigger that part. Yeah,
it's a very different thing because so like right now I weigh about between like I said I'm doing keto right now, but yesterday was like my high carb day that I carved up. So I go between 227 to like 230 range, and I'm actually going to continue going down a little bit, but like I'm in pretty good shape right now. Like 4 week out conditioning, 5 week out conditioning at like 230, and I enjoy this. But I remember like and most people watching this, most people don't know the full truth to it. They just saw a podcast where someone talked about Justin getting sick or whatever. But back in 2017, I had a lot of hardship. We could talk for an hour or longer about it, but I had a lot of hardship in 2017. I didn't train, I didn't eat right, and I didn't take PEDs. I cold turkey stopped everything. Like again, my testosterone came back at 81, which is I know you guys use a different unit or different like
yeah,
system,
yeah,
but like 81 is like a teenage girl level.
yeah, exactly.
It's very bad. I got to the point where some days I would eat 1,000 calories and some days I would eat 8,000 calories of shit. Like it varied from day to day. My shoulder was bad. I ended up having surgery on that, and I simply didn't train at all. My mental state went to shit, and I noticed my physique was going down. And when I got down to like 215 pounds, nobody even recognized me. Like I was
Yeah,
215 and I
man.
was fat. Like I did not look like the old Justin. And it started making it worse for me because like I'd walk into a show, nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
People did not, and like it started messing with me mentally because I realized like being a bodybuilder is my identity.
Yeah.
Like that, this is who I am. And it started fucking with me like so bad that like I never told anyone. I smiled and I pretended that I was happy and I didn't want to let anyone know that I was going through depression. And I wasn't like, I wasn't suicidal, not like that. No, I was just depressed and I didn't want to come out of my house. I didn't come out of my house for the most part. I stayed home. I
Yeah.
literally stayed home. I made best friends with my first dog, and it was just me and him. You know, that was life for a while.
Yeah.
And it was a very depressing time. So I feel like without bodybuilding, that being my identity, I don't know, man. Like like I never thought, like I never had to think about that until it actually happened to me. And when it happened, there was days, like so I don't really talk too much about. There was days I would just cry myself to sleep. Literally, a grown ass man would just lay in bed, cry, and go to sleep.
That's heavy, man.
Like that's it's not good, but I mean that's deep. That's reality.
Yeah,
That's facts.
absolutely.
And people don't like a lot of people would look at that and say that that's dumb, but like they've never been in my position before. So it's easy to make fun of it when you've never been there before. So it's just like if you take a football player who has been nothing but a football player and all of a sudden he suffers a spinal injury, can't
Yeah,
ever get
totally.
back on the field. You know,
Yeah.
it's like take a boxer who has an injury that he can't do it no more.
Yeah,
They lose their identity, they lose who they are, and essentially a lot of them lose their shit, and it can lead to suicide, homicide, drug abuse, can lead to all those things. And I was probably on the verge of all three of those, to be
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah.
because I just felt like everything was stripped from me at one time. Because not only was I losing my physique, sponsors don't pay you to get small and look fat.
obviously, no.
They pay you to be big and muscular,
Yeah,
represent. So I lost all my sponsors. My money was gone. My income was down. And I didn't want, I lost drive. I lost motivation. It was like, if I ate, cool. If I didn't eat, cool too. If I woke up today, that's fine. If I don't wake up, that's also fine. I don't
like
care.
some of those downward spiral you were getting into, and it's very difficult
Yeah,
of that.
I'm blessed, and I feel blessed and thankful that it did not lead to, again, either me making a bad decision towards myself or towards someone else or falling into a drug addiction.
Yeah,
Like, because those are usually when people go through depression, oftentimes those are the three things that they turn to, unfortunately. And I was able to kind of pick myself up, but I'm not going to lie, some of those thoughts did cross my mind.
that's
So
heavy, man.
once I got everything all taken care of, and guess what? Once I got back into the gym and looked like a bodybuilder again, this came back.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'm not 300 pounds anymore, but I feel like myself now. Like I'm Justin again. You know, like I feel like I'm supposed to feel.
That's good. That's difficult. Also with the social media now, because even with the people that are like not real bodybuilders, but still has a like a decent following and make money online, it's exact what you say. It's the person with muscles, but you need to post content, and once you get sick or lost the drive or the drive to progress or something, they don't give a fuck. They're like, oh,
Yep.
huh? Also, if I was talking with Robin, and so we checked some of your posing videos, or sometimes we even check training videos of you before a workout. But then sometimes we read comments, and then people say, yeah, if Justin gave everything, he could have been Olympia, blah blah blah. He stopped because of this or of this. And then I think, so this is just a random guy typing on his Instagram or on his computer. Yeah, Justin could be this if he do that. And that's so with social media these times, it's so fucked up.
And at the time, like I'll touch on that what you just said. At the time, this was 2017. This is, in my opinion, about 2015 to about 2020 is when social media had its boom.
Yeah.
Like that's when it was really like rising up.
Yeah.
And of course I see this type of stuff, right? Like you can't not, like when people are tagging you and tagging you and tagging you and stuff, you have to read it. And
Yeah.
like what it did, so I initially came out and I basically told my side of it. And then I start getting these comments as like, oh, you're full of shit, you're this and that. I'm like, well, I tell you guys the truth, and that's not the truth that you want to hear. So now all of a sudden you call me a liar. You don't believe anything I'm saying. And now like everything I've done's wrong. And I just shut down. I was like, you know what? I have nothing to prove here. You guys can talk all the shit you want. And and I just stopped. Like when people would ask me, why'd you quit bodybuilding? I would be a smart ass. Like, and I didn't really have intentions of hurting people's feelings by that or like creating a bad image to myself. But I got tired of hearing the same thing. And I'm going to correlate that with something else here in just a moment before we wrap things up. But like, I got so sick and tired of hearing it about like, when you're going to make a comeback or why did you do this or why did you do that? It was like, guys, I already explained this to you. If you're a fan of mine, you should have saw my explanation, not some YouTuber's explanation who
exactly.
gave you his opinion.
Yeah.
Like you got it directly from the source, but you chose to listen to this guy. And it would frustrate me because like I would say whatever, like I remember I was in the hospital with pneumonia one time and I posted a picture of that too. It was on my story. And it was so bad. You've heard of dry pneumonia?
Mm.
Like you're not like coughing, it's like chest pain.
Yeah.
I thought I was having a heart attack. So like I probably wouldn't have even went to the hospital with pneumonia, but I thought I was having a fucking heart attack. So I was like, okay, I go to the hospital and like I'm kind of talking about that. And like people was saying stuff. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'll just let you be right. I'm not going to elaborate. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. And I remember I'm going to go on a limb and like those type of comments don't bother me anymore. Like when people tell me stuff like, you could have been Mr. Olympian, I'm like, maybe, maybe not, like it doesn't bother me because that's reality that we live in. That's social media. That's the general public. And I wasn't used to that back then. So like it really got to me, but like I kept it under control or as much as I could anyways.
Yeah.
One person that I usually don't agree with him on a lot of things, but I will agree with him on this situation. The topic that we talked about earlier with Kai and that whole like little fiasco.
Yeah.
Dave Palumbo kind of shared his thoughts on his video. And I usually don't pay attention to Dave, but I sided with Dave. He goes, I don't think that Kai dislikes Justin or something like that. He goes, I think Kai is just tired of hearing this. But here's the thing. Someone DM'd me, and he's like, Kai's pissed off because you brought the grapefruit thing up. And I was like, well, first off, I never brought that up. I just said it's past. I didn't say what. I just said it's past. And I said I thought it was a little weird. It's not my thing, but whatever. And the thing is, when you do something, no matter what it is, good or bad, it does not go away. Like it's always going to be there. And the guy goes, well, how would you feel if people come up to you every day and say you could have been Mr. Olympia, but you blew your chance? And I said, dude, I get those comments all the time. I still get those comments to this day. And I said, you want to know how I react to them? Not like Kai did. I said, because maybe I could have, maybe I couldn't have been Mr. Olympia. At the end of the day, we'll never know. But like, I still get the comments, and sometimes it bothers me. Sometimes it does. But you know what? I realize the person that's saying it, they're not trying to bother me. They're not trying to hurt my feelings. It's more of a compliment than anything. That's how I take it. Yeah. Sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I'm in a bad mood and I don't want to hear it. But I never take it out on my fans. I never take it out on my fellow athletes. Like I'll go to a show, maybe I'll meet, a guy who's a pro or a guy who's an Olympian. You're like, oh, dude, if you would have kept going, like, do I really want to hear that? No, not really. But like, it doesn't make me feel bad. It doesn't upset me. It doesn't piss me off. And if it does upset me, I realize like that guy meant no harm by what he just said. But the thing is, it's a fact. It's something that people talk about, and you have to accept that. So whether it's good or whether it's bad, if you did something and you've created this aurora around you, it doesn't leave. So like you have to accept what it is. And I accept that. When people say like you could have been Mr. Olympian, if I'm happy that day, I'm like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. If I'm not happy, I'm like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. It's the same answer.
Yeah.
Because like this guy didn't come up to me to insult me. He's not trying to be mean to me. He's not trying to just get under my skin. Now, granted, yes, you do get trolls. You get your online trolls. You get the guys who purposely try. Takes me about 3 seconds to hit block. If I realize you're that type of guy, I'm not going to tolerate it, man. Like I'm 38. Well, I'm 37. I'm going on 38. I don't got time for this. Like you're a random. You don't even have a profile picture. And you're going to talk smack to me.
Yeah.
Like you're like I wouldn't even recognize you if I ran into you in 10 minutes. So it's like I'm not going to let you ruin my day. Now sometimes I will troll people back just to have some fun with them. But like they don't understand. They think I'm getting upset. In reality, I'm just playing the game. I'm just playing along with them.
Yeah.
But usually I just block them and go on. Like, I'm not going to let you take my happiness.
And I think that's a very good thing that you say right there. I mean, I talked to Samuel about it a lot of times. I mean, and we all have this sometimes. Sometimes we get upset by the opinion of other people's, and sometimes I see that it happens to Samo, and I just tell him, I say, Samo, do they pay your rent at the end of the month? He said, no. Okay, then we're done, right? Yeah, they're not paying my bills, so who the fuck cares what
Yeah, I
they pay?
have a quick little story. I don't think you'll get a hold of it, Justin. But there was at my show, there was me, and there was a Dutch guy. He's 22, 21, and there supposedly were two UK coaches, like highly respected coaches. If I may believe the people that sent me that, they also had a podcast, and they were telling in the podcast that there were 14 competitors in the super heavyweight class at the pro qualifier, and they said literally every one of those 14 could win a regional two bro show in the UK. That the level was so high, and then they go on and they say so. First, they are positive about the level competitors, and then they say, yeah, there were two guys in the top five. There was one 22-year-old and one 21-year-old, and supposedly one of those guys or both are using more than 4 grams of gear. And I'm like,
Ridiculous.
listen, Justin, we know everything. Robin and know we know everything I took, and there's not even close. And then to have the audacity to put a podcast on because you don't know me and you don't know him, but because we are top 5 and we're under 23, you're gonna assume or
Trust me.
something. Fuck.
You're going to get that. And the thing is, you're always going to get that because you're good. And when you're better than the average bodybuilder, you're always going to get that. Like, for example, like I said, I'm between 225 and 230, and I'm relatively lean. I get people all the time that come up to me and they're like, well, what are you taking? And I'm like, TRT, because I have to. And they're like, they kind of look at me like, no, what are you really taking?
Exactly.
And I'm like, that is what I'm really taking. Like, just because I'm at a different level than you doesn't mean that I'm taking more or less than you. Like, we all have our own journey when it comes to that. And I remember, like, with what you're talking about, I used to get heated about this kind of stuff. And nobody really cared about, like, my name or anything until 2013 or 14. And there was a guy, and I hate to say stuff like this, but, like, I do stand by what I believe in and what I say. And there's only been one person that has passed away in the past, like, say, 10 years that I genuinely just didn't like him. And it was Adam McVeigh. Do you guys remember a podcast called Geared Up? He had a Facebook group too called Geared Up Podcast, Geared Up Group. It was a big thing in the U.S. He had like 50,000 people in Facebook back in like 2014 or 2015.
Didn't you do some training videos with that as well, Geared Up?
No, I didn't do anything with Geared Up because I didn't like Adam. But I remember, like, like his page was private, you know, he had to accept you in there. And I never wanted to go in it because the gear obviously refers to PEDs. And I was like, you know, at that time, you couldn't really talk about PEDs. It was not something you could publicly talk about like 10 to 12 years ago. It was not acceptable. So like I didn't want to be in that group, but like people would screenshot to me where guys like, I know Justin personally, and he's taken this, this, and this, and this. And I'm like, first off, I've never seen your name in my life.
Who the fuck
I
are
don't
you?
know who the fuck you are. And second, everything they're like, he's using 30 IU a GH. No, never remotely came close to that. 10.
Yeah.
I did use 10 IU GH, and people nowadays feel like 10 IU is like a pussy dosage. And I'm like, that's not a pussy dosage. That's a pretty good amount of GH.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
So, but you know, these guys were saying he's using this, he's using that. So I didn't not like Adam at that time. And I said, hey, dude, can you like fix this? Because this doesn't look good. And he basically called my bluff and said, you are doing this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, man. And then we had some beef over it. And I actually, he had beef with everyone. He was so stupid. See, I feel bad about saying this about a guy who's no longer alive and can't defend himself, but I look at it like this. If I loved you while you're alive, I will still love you and respect you afterwards. But if I didn't like you while you were alive, guess what? I don't like you when you're dead either. It doesn't change. Like I still feel the same about you. So he actually was so stupid that one of the guys who sponsored his podcast, meaning he got paid by this supplement company. I think they gave him like $300 or $400 a show. But dude, if you're doing 3, 4, 5 shows a month, I mean, you know, and you have multiple sponsors, that money adds up. He went on the show and said that the supplements suck. I'm like, dude, are you that high that the guy who's paying you just said that? So
smoke something else than weed.
Yeah, smoking some nails over there.
Yeah, he was not really rat tight. And ultimately, I think he died of a drug overdose, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I heard. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't wish the guy death. I didn't want to see that happen.
Of course.
To be fair, I did want to fight him. Not gonna lie, I wanted to physically fight him. I wanted to do that since 2014. And he had an issue with Matt Jansen. He had an issue with Dallas McCarver. Like he thought that now, obviously, Dallas was using a pretty substantial amount of gear. If you would have told me that while he's alive, I would have said you're fucking retarded. But when that autopsy came out, I was stunned at like his test levels. I couldn't believe what I was actually seeing.
I heard someone said that when they saw it, they first time the comma, how do you say it? The dot was not on the right place. Let me tell this.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was well. Actually, I think it was Dave Palumbo that caught it because, like for example, 10 centimeters is not the same as 10 inches, right?
Yep.
Where there's different systems of how they measure things.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but his test level was 550. And I'm like, holy shit, man. Dallas was taking 100 milligrams of testosterone a week. I was like, I expected more than 100. But turns out it wasn't the same unit. So when you convert 550 into what the regular American unit is nanogram per deciliter.
Yeah, I think we do milligram per deciliter.
Yeah, so ours is nanogram per deciliter. And when you convert that, that's 55,000. And we're like, holy shit. Like that is a complete game changer. But I remember like Adam was talking shit about Dallas, and Dallas is like, I'm gonna fuck him up. I'm gonna do I'm like, no. I was like, don't do that. I was like, don't do that. We were both at a show and I was the guest poser. Dallas was just there because he loved bodybuilding and he wanted to be there. And Matt was competing and he was being coached by Matt. So I remember Adam he made a comment saying he wants to drive from Chicago to Frankfurt, which was like a 6-hour drive. He wants to drive there purposely so he could watch Matt fail. Dallas got pissed off about it, and I wasn't happy about it, you know. So what I was going to do, I was going to be a prick. Dallas wanted to fight him and hurt him. And I said, no, don't do that. You're at an NPC event. You will lose your pro card. You will get banned, and he will press charges.
Yeah.
You're going to go to jail. I said, let me handle it. I have a better solution. Everyone knew that me and Adam hated each other. I was going to go to the promoter and say, this guy, we have a lot of problems, and I fear for my life that he's in this building. He's here to hurt me. I was going to literally have him escorted out of the building and then just video it. Of like, I was going to have security. I was going to let him drive 6 hours, pay for a ticket to get into the building, and then video him getting, because I was going to tell the promoter if he showed up, I was going to say, I'm not guest posing until he's gone. I'm going to refuse.
You got the leverage right there.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to refuse the guest post. I don't trust this man. He's unsafe. He's going to shoot me. He's going to stab me. I was going to make some shit up. Like, I was going to get him escorted out of the building and just to embarrass him.
Yeah. The biggest L.
But like, I knew better than to actually get into it physically with the guy, because he would be the first person that would run to the police and try to get a lawyer and try to sue you.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I wanted to, I was like, I'm not going to do this. And I was like, Dallas was very like, either he was the happiest guy on the planet or he became the Incredible Hulk and broke shit. One or the other. And it was very rare to see that other side of him. But when he got mad, it was kind of a scary scene to see him mad.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, I was like, don't do this, bro. Just let me handle it. I was like, let your big bro handle this. I'll take care of him for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to like people just talking shit. That was one of like his things. And like, anytime you see an up and coming bodybuilder that's young, that they're super successful, they're big, they're ahead of schedule, or they're ahead of their time, there's always going to be people say he's using this or he's using that. And in my opinion, that's their way of justifying why they're not as good as you. It's not the truth, but that's how they try to justify it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just their own emotional blockage.
And it comes down to two things. Obviously, genetics plays a big role into that. Like, I don't want to downplay it. Like, I hate using the term genetics because most of the time people's shortcomings, it's not because of genetics. It's because of their work ethic and their consistency. But like, when you have a guy who has good genetics, really good work ethic, and he's consistently doing this, you're going to have a really good bodybuilder. If you have someone with good genetics, but yet they don't have the work ethic or the consistency, you're going to have an average bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that, like, in their mind, that they think they're doing everything they can do. But like, again, the off-season structure looks like shit. You're cheating on your plan, but they think they're doing everything they can do. And it's not reality. It's like if I'm prepping you and I see you at a rave party at 3 weeks out, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? This is not how you become a pro bodybuilder. This is not how you win shows. But people do that, but they don't understand that that's the guys that's beating them. They're not doing that. Back to the whole concept. Champions do what competitors don't. Like, we're at home, we're working. Like, look at Dorian Yates. He locked himself in a basement and he won every Olympia he entered except one. Like, that's how it's done. If you want to be elite, that's how it's done. People don't get that. Then they just resort back to like, oh, it's his genetics, or he's on more drugs than me, or he's
it's the easiest thing to say. It's the easiest thing to say. Right. So just to wrap it up, we're way past our 1 hour. We normally keep it around an hour, but
you can split it into 2 shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just 1.2, but no, one that's going to be a bit longer. It's not a problem at all. So Justin, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. You taking the time for us, and really appreciate your being open about a lot of stuff. So thank you for that.
And absolutely.
It will be
and good to see you face to face after 2 years of coaching. And I had also a lot of questions. We didn't get to answer that, but there were a lot of questions. If you take on clients, and how do I get 20 kilos of stage muscle just like Samo? That's a really questions, but that's for another time. But do you still take clients on?
Maybe for a real second part.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I am taking clients still right now, but if you guys wanted to do another one that's just strictly like, so this one's kind of like the introduction.
Yeah.
Because we talked about like my background and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you guys just wanted to do one that's just a Q&A, like literally we just started out with question. I'm good with that too.
I think that could be a good idea for later on, indeed. So
Yeah, if you guys got like, 20, 30 questions, I mean, I try to be very elaborate with my answers. I don't want to like give people the short, cheesy answer. I try to
Yeah,
give them the real deal.
yeah.
So like if we got 20 or 30 questions, we got a 2 hour long podcast.
yeah,
Cool.
all right, great. That's a good
Awesome.
idea
So if you
for next time. For now, thank you for your time again. I hope people like watching the episode. And for now, see you next time.
all right, man, thanks for
Yes.
having me.
Yes, yes, yes.